Welcome to part 17 of the Mega Man Eternal Creators playthrough. So, this part will be taking on what I like to call the retro stage, and it is honestly a big-time tribute to the classic series. So this is also noted as one of the longest, if you were to count in terms of the canon games and fan games, this is quite easily the longest level that I at least know of in any fan game, at least to date.
Ready.
The first thing I'll note is that this level can be pretty forgiving. It will give you extra lives. It's meant to be enjoyed, but at the same time it is still pretty challenging. Now you may recognize this right away. This is Gutsman's level. Now, the objective was, I don't know, maybe Dr. Wily was kind of bored. He just wanted to take all the dick parts of a lot of levels and just throw them all together. In particular, this one's pretty notorious for Mega Man 1. So, tip here is just wait for the second one to come down below, then just make sure you stay on track and hop diligently. So, keep on going here. So you'll notice that it's not like a carbon, the enemies aren't the exact same enemies as they were in the original, but it's kind of like a mixed bag, where you have original bits, and then you have new bits. You're going to notice as we go further on, that the levels will get more and more deteriorated, or pieces of them will start becoming less apparent. It's meant to represent the chaotic nature of this level. It's meant to be a whole bunch of projections based on mega data. Here, you may want to just wait over here and take those ones out, and then you're going to have a Pogo Gyro coming this way. Just don't get too close. And now here, just keep to the right. Do not entertain the Gyro Hopski over there. Note that there is going to be a Flame Gyro, Flame Gyro coming up here. Just wait over here and take it out before hopping across. It reduces the risk of falling into the lovely fire pits and dying. Wait for these tallies just to appear before I knock them out. Now here, you want to keep low. There, pretty much, yeah, you have the same problem there. There we go. Now we're going to be entering a teleporter. Now, the way the Robot Master refights work in this game is that there's two random sets, well, random in quotations. The two selected sets that can occur well, it's a coin flip. Basically, you get one or the other. So you have two different sets of Robot Masters that you can take on. So note that if you do die, and then you say were to go back into the fighting list, as long as you don't get a game over, you'll get the same set. So note that, so like if you were to leave this level and then come back due to a game over, the Robot Master's order may be different. Note I will give a description down below of what the two sets are, in case you're curious. Now you may recognize this bit as parts of Needleman's level, and the music, of course, is the title or main theme of the Mega Man 2 Game Boy game. Of course, paying homage to the fact that this level did technically appear in that game as well. So you're going to start noticing that things are starting to change up a little bit more than just being a straight up artifact. Don't be afraid to just take your time a little bit with this. Ooh, got smart. And just focus primarily on just staying alive. This is, like I said, the last stage is like a gauntlet. This is more of a gauntlet because, oh yes, make sure you slide there. Because it's a really long level. There are 5 major segments that all are kind of paying homage to previous Mega Man games. Oh, here we are at the Dustman portion. Now you're gonna notice that this part, the Crusher part, is a little bit different. So here you definitely do not want to go anywhere near where these things are gonna start crushing you down. But don't get too close. Just pick your battles. Otherwise, you're gonna get squashed and get an auto kill. Ooh, bolts. Yeah. On a random note, I'm honestly a big fan of, like, as much hate as people give Mega Man 2 on the Game Boy, I honestly really enjoy some of the music in it. I enjoyed the game. The only thing I find kind of weird was the end. So, like, the final boss is just really weird. The fact that Dr. Wily is just so darn tiny. Oh, now we're at Frigid Man. Remember, Scorch Flame just knocks the living heck out of him. So, I'll just use the same trick I used last time, which just use Beat whenever he's up there. And then I'm just gonna use Scorch Flame to just drain his health. Oh, his energy. There we go. You notice that Scorch Flame just does a ton to him. There we go. Now, one tip I also have is, it's sure to wait for the health to refill before you go back to the teleporter, because it will not fill up after the fact. Let's knock out Plant Man. Oop. Ah, there we go, got him. We're entering the next segment. Crystal Man time. So, you'll notice that the music here is the Dr. Wily Castle or Skull Fortress or Skull Castle, many synonyms, for Mega Man 5, one of my favorite castles. In fact, actually, this game's castle actually takes some inspirational notes from that one. In fact, if you were to do a little bit of a Google search or look at some of the older videos, you'll notice that that the original Wily Underwater Stronghold actually was heavily inspired. In fact, a lot of pieces of it were from the castle in Mega Man 5. But yeah, this fortress is heavily inspired by that because of the underwater segments towards the beginning of it. Here we go. So, one note I do have is that if you wait for 4 crystals to drop, you can just jump right across. Here, you want to make sure you keep a little bit of space towards the right, just make sure you don't fall into the pit if you get hit by the Captain Joe. Yeah, so wait for 4, and then you can jump. They have varying different rates. Now we got yourself another Giga Noiser, Jiro. He's not too terribly bad, he just remember, stay always on the left or the alternating side. And of course, just dodge the sound waves. Now we're entering the Plant Man segment. You notice that there's gonna also be some more changes, and some of the deadly platforms in Plant Man's level are relegated to just steel platforms, kind of representing kind of a steel frame in history, if you think about it. Reminds me of, I don't know, for some reason it just makes you think of, like, Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker. So you'll notice that these platforms don't do anything like they do in the original. I'm just gonna wait for another one to knock out the J-Telly. Now, one particular thing I will note is that do not be shy to use your weapons against these J-Tellys, because I placed them in a way so that you'll have to be more careful with your shots. So, don't be afraid to use Illusion Blast, don't be afraid to use your Anchor Lance, don't be afraid to use mostly any weapon. As long as you can hit them. Oh, this is the last jump. Here, I advise you to wait for the J-Telly, or else you may get hit and fall right into the water and die. Ah, Cipher Man. Yeah. So, remember, Jolt Shocker is your best friend with this guy. There we go. Gonna knock out the code. There we go. Add a little bit. Ah, there we go. There we go. One more here before the next segment. Scorch Man. Ooh, yeah. Get the 2 note out. Now, one tip I will provide with Scorch Man that I didn't really mention much is that if you stay too far away from him when he fires off those blasts, it increases the chances of you getting hit by him if those fire blasts are high up. Notice that if they spread but they're low, you can keep a good distance and always jump over them. Okay, here's the next segment. You may recognize music from Mega Man 7 Wily Castle Stage 1. And this is Spring Man segment. You're gonna notice that things are gonna be becoming more just kind of decomposed. But I'm gonna be intentionally dying just to show you a secret song. So if you're wondering where one of the secret songs is, just charge up your blaster here and go right through. Here we go. There's the second and last secret song. This is an alternate version that's more related to the beta version of the Mega Man 7 Castle 1 theme. And if you're wondering, the second segment here is actually Grenade Man's level, but it's pretty heavily decomposed, which is sort of the motif I was going for. It's supposed to be more chaotic as we're getting towards the end. And this is Galaxy Man, of course. You always want to head towards that bottom left one to get to the end. And here's Solar Man, and where we are. Last two Robot Masters. So remember, tune them and you wanted to use clampering. So, one thing I thought I would just talk briefly about while these are going on is just a little bit about, like, well, what was sort of what I was thinking about with this level. Like, why make it so darn long? It's because I wanted to pay homage in a way that I best could do for the previous game. Take straight up homage, because I honestly wanted to show, like, a little bit from each of the classic games, with the only exception I made was Mega Man and Bass. So it's only 1 through 10. You'll notice that one thing that I didn't note when I said that is just because that since this game did in fact come out like after Mega Man 9 and 10, although it was being worked on before that, they're actually like the later segments actually were developed far later on. Actually, there was going to be an intention to have a Mega Man and Bass segment, but it just the pairing ups and everything just didn't work right. Here we go. We're at the last part here. We'll take you on Dr. Wily and what is called the Wily Rush Machine. So if you wonder what Rush stands for, it's not just the dog. It's replicate, unify. I don't remember the last two. I'll put it in the description. But the strategy is as follows. So he's using the Mega Data through Rush to replicate different Robot Masters that create different attacks, and your job is to destroy the projections and then shoot the energy back up at him so it stuns him, so that Rush's capsule can come down so you can damage the capsule. The easiest target I would recommend is going for Top Man. Dust Man is probably the hardest one to take out. So note for Burst Man, you want to always shoot his bubbles, or else his bubbles can push you off to the side. So it's worth noting that an earlier version of this game actually had it where, like, when you defeat this boss, that the bubbles can push you off into the spikes. So note, with Dust Man, make sure you do slide. Oh, Dr. Wily's getting away. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ones. For Cloud Man, you want to slide underneath him and then blast. Nano Man, you want to move out of the way when he comes down. Oh, darn it, I don't have enough for another E-Tank, but that's okay. I'll be able to handle myself. Let's save, and we're going to be going after Dr. Wily in the next part.